Discipline is always a big thing.
You can have a huge impact or a huge effect on your health when you make small changes.
Get up at 6 a.m. and, stand in line and don't say anything.
Instead of saying, oh, I'm taking the car to the gym, maybe I can walk there.
All right, welcome back. Robin Good here, and today we're going to talk about how to become more disciplined and most importantly, how to stay more disciplined. And for that, we're having a special guest on here today, Karim Chelli, who's one of the leading mindset coaches, especially in the poker area. We're going to share some valuable insights, some actual implementable steps. So I really hope you get the value out of this conversation. So let's dive right into it.
So welcome back. Today we have a special guest on here, Karim. We wanted to talk a little bit about discipline, how this possibly affects your journey or your goals. You want to become fitter, healthier, of course, before and also when you're in the process. First of all, thanks Karim for taking the time.
Of course.
It's good to have you here. Yeah, let's dig right into it. So, that's what you also probably have a lot of the times with your clients, like discipline. This is a big thing. What I see a lot of the time is with people who think about working on themselves, they want to do something, but they're afraid of being oh, I'm not disciplined enough. I'm not sure if I can do it because I know myself, and discipline is always a big thing. So how do you generally handle that with your clients?
Yeah, we can break this down into extreme detail because what you just described is the fear of something that is not existent, right? But let's stick to discipline itself. So, you already told me that some of the people you talk to, they say, in the past, I was never disciplined, or maybe I have to, change my complete schedule or my complete eating routines. But usually you can have a huge impact or a huge effect on your health when you make small changes. And I think you're a very experienced coach. So this means you dealt with all kinds of different schedules, stress levels. I think you want to make it as easy and as efficient as possible for your clients. So sometimes making small changes can have a huge impact. So even if you say maybe you failed in the past, I also get that sometimes, from people who want to work with me, they're like, oh, in the past I failed. But in the past, you haven't had the structure that you give your clients. You have a group of ambitious people who pushing each other. You are there all the time for your clients. When they have a question, they can reach out to you. So this alone is usually enough, because accountability is usually something that pushes you to get sometimes 10% more disciplined, and sometimes 10% more disciplined already gives you 80% of better results. And on top of that, there's one thing that is extremely important to understand, is that when someone is interested in your coaching and he's already talking to you, this means this person wants to change. So the question is, how much do you want to change, and how much is your lazy self holding you back? And when you put everything on a scale, basically, on the one hand, you have the want to change, you have you as a coach making it as simple as possible, as efficient as possible. You're basically having the whole ecosystem of people who are super ambitious, of you basically checking on your clients, being there for them. And also on top of that, having in mind that sometimes small changes can have a huge effect compared to you being lazy or being lazy right now, or a little bit lazy, maybe it depends on the person, of course. If you put this on a scale, there's a huge gap between you being more disciplined, right?
Exactly. And it's interesting that you mentioned that with the small steps. For me, it's obvious, but when I sometimes talk to people, it's really, they think, okay, now everything changes from one day to the other. They really have sometimes really that picture of oh, they now have to join the military and get up at 6 a.m. and, stand in line and don't say anything and only eat super dry foods. And that's really not the case, because even sometimes these people who are afraid in the first step, later down the road, then also say, wow, if I knew it could be that simple and that efficient at the same time, I would have started even earlier, or started straight away and didn't need to, myself over that.
Exactly. And the beauty of that is on top of that, if you just, take the time and give it a try, you will see that over time, at the beginning, you probably have to push yourself a little bit. Mm-hmm. That is clear, I think, for everyone. Mm-hmm. But the more you push yourself, the more you create the habit and the routine, and the less willpower you need. So maybe at the beginning, you need a little bit more attention from your side, a little bit more motivation, but you have it already because that's why those people talk to you. And then the more you do it, the more you get the structure. And then instead of saying, oh, I'm taking the car to the gym, maybe I can walk there. And those are small changes. They can have a huge impact.
Yeah, in the bigger picture then, especially, yeah. I would say definitely in the beginning, like some people, when they decide, okay, now it's time for me to change, and now they make, and then they're super disciplined. But what I also sometimes see is like, they're super disciplined, like whatever this then means in like each and every case. They get the results, they're in the process, they're good. And sometimes they start to slack off, like after a couple of weeks. What's your take on there? Like how to, for someone who wants to be, is afraid of staying disciplined over the time. I mean, first of all, you have to be disciplined to start away, in the first few weeks, but then of course it takes a little bit of time. What's your take on that?
Yeah, that's also a very interesting phenomenon that I see in my clients, because sometimes I work with my clients 10 weeks, and sometimes they have so good results after 5 weeks already that I see, they don't do the things we talked about. And I'm like, hey, like be careful, because you can have like so much more. So sometimes people are so happy with their results after a few weeks that they start to slack off. Then it's basically my job to tell them like, hey, you can achieve so much more. That is basically one side of the spectrum. And then you have the other side when people say like, because at the beginning it's like a video game. When you start a video game, at the beginning you level up, every few minutes, and you're like, oh, level 2, level 3, level 4. And then maybe if you level 80 or so, you need more time to get to level 81. Yep. So some people also slack off then, because they're like, I have to put more effort on this and more time until I see results. But then it's all about remembering why you want to do that and seeing the fun. Sometimes, it's less fun. Sometimes it's more fun. But everyone who works with you, works with me, has a deeper reason for that. And then it's important to remember what is the deeper reason. And the deeper reason might sound very simple to find, but you can dig so deep here. For example, when someone comes to you and says, oh, I want to lose 5 kilos, maybe his deeper reason is he wants to be more active and be able to run with his son, because he wants to spend more time with his son, for example, right? So this is something very, very interesting when it comes to psychology. What is the deepest reason? And if you can find that, then it doesn't matter if you're level 1 or level 80.
Exactly. It's cool that you mentioned that, because I have something in place, like especially in the beginning, which I do with my clients. It's like a powerful exercise, which really creates or gives them the task to create that vision of themselves, and to really write it down and to see where they want to go and what is necessary to get there. And usually when things get a little bit more challenging, they somehow even remind themselves. They just look at that, they do the exercise again, and boom, back on track, keep crushing it, keep getting results. And that's what makes them in the end so super successful. So it's always epic to see, really cool to see. Yeah, cool. That was super valuable. Thanks, Karim, for your time. Really appreciate it. We're going to link your details down below. So if anybody wants to know a little bit about more what you're doing, I'll link your social media and your website down below, so you can check that out. And looking forward to have you soon again on a chat.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
My pleasure. So talk soon. Bye bye.
Talk soon.